And Tucker, by the way, then continued along these lines. He did an interview with Vivek Ramaswamy, and he likened what just happened in Israel, the kidnapping of women and their rape. I mean, he's showing video of this happening, like as he's talking about this. He compared that to drug overdose deaths in the United States. Now, I believe we should fully care about the 100,000 drug overdose deaths that happen in the United States. These are two completely different issues. To go this far afield to link the issues, the only reason you're doing this is because you wish to downplay the atrocity that just happened in Israel. You're not upplaying the atrocity of what's happening on America's streets. Those are two different types of atrocities. People who are addicted to fentanyl, sticking needles in their arms and overdosing is a moral blight. It is a moral atrocity and a moral evil for people to kidnap women, rape them, and drag them back to the Gaza border. Those are not the same thing. And Tucker knows that. But this is a cheap way of telling you not to look. Don't look. Stop caring. Because after all, what does it matter?
Hey there, guys. Welcome to the channel. Guys, if you haven't noticed, by the way, Happy New Year. Happy New Year, guys. If you haven't noticed, coming into 2024, the internet wants us to believe that there's some sort of right-wing civil war happening, already started. And we've got to pick either Team Ben Shapiro or Team Tucker Carlson. Full disclosure, obviously, first off, this is not actually happening. But full disclosure, if it is happening, I'm Team Tucker all the way. Ben is great, but there's not a chance that I side with Ben Shapiro over Tucker on most issues, but especially this one. And apparently what this is all about is the fact that some on the right have this desire to stoke or support, sometimes even feels like promote foreign wars, right? And there's a steadily growing, almost new kind of conservative, this America First, kind of much more libertarian type of conservative that believes that foreign wars and all the geopolitical happenings, they are important. No one can deny that they're important, but they aren't anywhere near as important as our own domestic issues, and more importantly than that, our own domestic decline. And I'm in that camp, personally. I know a lot of us on the channel, we're in the former. We're on Team Ben, and that's okay. Some of us flip-flop back and forth. It's all okay. All of these are understandable positions. That said, I want to show you guys exactly what's going on, what was said, and then without picking sides, I think we should probably talk about what it all means. But first, guys, if you haven't already, please help the channel continue to grow. Moving into 2024, it's going to get more and more difficult to get conservative voices heard, especially with a presidential election coming. So we are going to have to team up and do this work together, guys. And we can do this work together by making sure that we like, comment, subscribe, and most importantly, share the channel, especially this. People should see this.
So I don't really care, but I did think it showed like the level of not just corruption, which I knew, but of like emotional instability and craziness. I mean, there are people, and I stopped reading any of it, but there are people on the right who have spent the last 2 months every single day focused on a conflict in a foreign country as our own country becomes dangerously unstable on the brink of financial collapse, with tens of millions of people who shouldn't be here in the country. We don't know their identities or the purpose of their being here. Like stuff that's could destroy the country for real and make it impossible for my kids to live here. They've said nothing about that, and they're focused with laser intensity on foreign conflicts. And I'm like, at some point, I've got 4 kids. If I'm so caught up in the problems of my neighbor's children and completely ignoring my own children as they get addicted to drugs and themselves, I'm not against helping my neighbor's kids, but clearly I don't love my kids. I mean, that's the only logical conclusion, and they don't care about the country at all. And that's kind of their prerogative, but I do, because I have no choice, because I'm from here, my family's been here hundreds of years, I plan to stay here. Like, I'm shocked by how little they care about the country, and including the person you mentioned. And I can't imagine how someone like that could get an audience of people who claim to care about America, because he doesn't, obviously, right?
Right.
Yeah, so you guys see this, and guys, if you ask me, there is nothing wrong with anything that Tucker said, and his point of view is completely understandable, but alas, there's drama. There's always drama, and apparently the drama comes from Tucker saying he's shocked how little they care about the country, especially the person you mentioned is what he said to the guy in the clip. So it appears that person was Ben Shapiro, who, I am going to push back on what Tucker said. Obviously, he's passionate in his anti-war stance. That's probably, if you ask me, what got him fired from Fox, his position on Ukraine. So I get it. He's passionate, but I don't think it's fair to allege that Ben Shapiro does not care about this country. That's a little ridiculous. He's just as passionate about Israel as Tucker is the United States. That does not mean that Ben doesn't also love the United States. It doesn't mean that. It just doesn't mean that. Tucker, he got a bit ahead of his skis on that one. I think we can all agree that he probably didn't mean that, and he probably wouldn't say those words again. But let's not get carried away. Let's remember a couple of things. The most important thing is, I think, we do not need conservatives fighting and warring with each other. Just stop that right now. I mean, that serves no real purpose. And I think also important is Tucker may be wrong in his delivery, but the spirit of his point is completely correct. Focusing on protecting and preserving the rest of the world is not going to make any real impact or any real difference if we neglect to protect and preserve and repair our own country in the first place. All he's saying is that with all the suffering in the world, please, we cannot forget that we have more than our fair share here at home, especially considering we're the most powerful and wealthy country on the planet. We have right now record homelessness, record credit card debt for families, and this is not extravagant purchases. We're talking about groceries. We've got record drug overdose deaths and more young people actually than ever, who have hopelessness about their future that we've given them, And that's a number that we haven't seen before. And I think the point is, no matter how warm and fuzzy saving the world really makes you feel, it won't fix this. And also, ironically, you'll never save the world. It's a crazy thought, but you will never save the world if you don't start here. What if saving the world really does start from within? We've got to save here. We've got to start here. But guys, that's all I've got. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this in the comments. If you haven't already, guys, please make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Most importantly, share the channel, and we'll see you in the next one.